On this episode, we talk about Brock Lesnar on Stone Cold's podcast, Erick Rowan making his comeback, Hell in a Cell predictions, Ryan watches NXT, we announce the winner of the WWE 2K16 $60 digital gift certificate winner, and more now on Byte That. Hey gang, what is going on? You're listening to episode 113 of Byte That's weekly wrestling podcast, a place where we sit down and have a deep, dark discussion about sweaty men in spandex in the WWE. Thanks for tuning in and checking out the show. Remember, we are available every single Tuesday night on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, ByteThat.com, and of course for this and tons more, including coming soon, WWE 2K16 coverage. Head on over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ByteThatCast. My name is Juan Velas. I am from San Juan, Puerto Rico, and joining me this week, I have a lovely panel of guests that are here every week. Ryan McNulty from Boston, Massachusetts, and Keith Poshik from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. How are you guys? Are you doing good?
I'm doing just great.
Yeah, one might say doing dandy. And dandy. We are on the verge of Hell in a Cell, so why don't we hayak this podcast like a carjack?
Yes, hayaking like a carjack. That's what's going to be happening here. We have the Hell in a Cell predictions. We're going to be talking about, of course, the Stone Cold podcast featuring the Beast himself, Brock Lesnar. But first, as we usually do, we give her a little bit of an overview on Raw. Definitely a different show. It was in Texas. It had a huge build with former stars.
It's where all my exes live.
Oh, well.
That's why I hang my hat in Tennessee.
Oh, okay. But did you have any post-traumatic stress watching the episode, or are you okay?
No.
Okay, cool.
I'm over it.
But you got Stone Cold. No trauma there?
What?
What about The Undertaker?
What?
Ryan, let's stop this right now, right? Because it's going to keep happening.
We're already going off the rails and we're not even 5 minutes in.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm here for.
We had a lot of stars. Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, Stone Cold. What did you guys think about... Yeah, Ric Flair. What did you guys think about this different kind of episode? The ratings have been going down. People talking about them being unsatisfied with just how the show is being presented. But we kick it off with Stone Cold and The Undertaker.
This is like the ultimate please don't leave us edition of Monday Night Raw. Like, this was the ultimate ratings get to try and hype up a B-level pay-per-view and get people to kind of come back and to compete with Monday Night Football. The only thing is, it's kind of, as much as it was great to see The Undertaker, to see Shawn Michaels, to see Brock Lesnar, Stone Cold all on Raw, when you maybe get to see one, and especially Stone Cold is a rare appearance, it's still kind of going back to the well, you know? But I think I kind of appreciated in this spot because, you know what? This episode of Raw felt like they were actually trying. That was the important thing, is there was effort there.
Yeah, but we still we even made the joke on this show where it's like, oh, ratings are down, send in the old guys, and then everything, they want it to become better with that. But the thing I don't understand is why lump it all onto one show? Why not do something like have Shawn Michaels one week, then have Flair the next week, then have Austin the next week, and then The Undertaker, just kind of spread it out a bit so there's always something to look forward to, quote unquote, each week. I know the Texas thing probably was a big part of it.
The whole thing with it being in Dallas, and this is the site of WrestleMania next year, so you got to hype it up. You got to get the excitement going. You got to have all the stars there. Plus, I'm sure it's kind of convenient that both Michaels and Austin and Undertaker, for that matter, they're all from Texas. So it's maybe just makes sense for booking them for a show in Texas. So I think it's part WrestleMania hype and part we know the ratings are bad, so we're sorry.
It is interesting, though, because it's the go-home show to Hell in a Cell. So for all these things, a big part of me is still like, well, you got to have the go-home show be worth it. You got to have The Undertaker be there because they just randomly announced that match with not a lot of build-up, next to nothing. So I want to start off with that little conversation there. We have Stone Cold introducing The Undertaker, which to me is a little weird. That very much felt like you got to change the channel, and if you're not changing it for Stone Cold, you're at least changing it for The Undertaker, who delivered a promo that was much simpler.
Changing to Raw, I think, is what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah, what'd I say?
Well, you were saying, like, oh, Austin's here, change the channel.
Well, yeah, you guys know what I meant. But we have The Undertaker sort of building up his match. And I think between the combination of the Brock Lesnar podcast and The Undertaker on Raw, they did a pretty decent job. But are you guys still looking forward to the match? Because I know we've sort of been like The Undertaker, Hell in a Cell, but he looked in pretty good shape. I'll say that much.
Well,
he's going to die this weekend. Yeah, he just stood there. Of course, he probably looked in great shape, but I still think
physically he looked pretty good.
He's going to die this weekend.
Well, all right. So he was doing some house shows in Mexico, if I'm correct. Mexico City.
Yes, he was teaming with Kane.
Yeah, against the Wyatt family.
Yeah, so I mean, it's crazy that he's doing so many matches when we're lucky to get one from him a year. But I still think, in my mind, based on what I've seen in the last few Undertaker matches, that this is like morally irresponsible to have Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match, because he was barely getting through a singles match, no stipulations. I don't know. I mean, obviously Undertaker is signing off on it, because otherwise that would be illegal.
Maybe it's a great way to go out.
I feel like WWE should be protecting him from himself as much as, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get you. Old man, don't die on us, especially on camera. We don't need that. Switching gears a little bit, because we'll go back to this when we talk about Brock Lesnar. Shawn Michaels cut a promo that a lot of people are wondering what exactly was the purpose of it. He was talking to Seth Rollins, and the whole gist of it is basically Seth Rollins is trying to be the second coming of somebody, where Shawn pointed out, Shawn was the first Shawn Michaels. This was a little bit similar to the Jericho-Shawn Michaels feud in many ways, because Jericho was, giving the comparisons to wanting to be like a Shawn Michaels, but was the first Chris Jericho. I honestly, it kind of upset me, because we keep seeing this. Rollins is a cowardly heel, but at the same time, people talk crap about him. He can't really win cleanly. He's not the spotlight on the show. He's on the show a lot. That's not the same thing. But when you look at him, he's more of a champion rather than the champion. And I still very much think that. So what do you guys think about what Shawn had to say to Rollins?
I've been a big defender of what they've been doing with Seth Rollins, saying that, it's okay. But this seemed like a big misstep to me. It seems like they're almost trying to do whatever they can to not give Seth his own identity, because he's the authority guy, and now he's just getting called another HBK. There's no real, they're not building Seth Rollins as just, hey, this is Seth Rollins. And
I actually disagree with you. As far as this promo goes, I felt like this was Shawn Michaels kind of in a way, kind of motivating Rollins to say, hey, you don't want to be the second coming of me. You should be trying to become your own identity. And I thought, for that matter, this was the only segment where I really felt like the part-timer actually added to the show, because I felt like Michaels kind of brought an interesting point where all the time people are talking about, is Ziggler the next Shawn Michaels? Is Rollins the next Shawn Michaels? Is Rollins the next Triple H? We shouldn't even be thinking like that. We should just kind of be looking at these guys for their own merits and as their own star if they had a strong enough identity,
Absolutely, and that's exactly what we should be looking at. But with the way that wrestling works, it always seems like this backfires, because it usually doesn't turn into just that promo. Now for the next couple of weeks, the commentators might say oh, Seth Rollins, is he just Shawn Michaels? What are they going to do? And they're going to keep beating that home and keep it fresh in people's minds. And that's kind of the, I guess it wasn't like a face value problem, but that's kind of what I took away from it.
Yeah, when Rollins' first turn, I don't know if you guys remember, I said that long term they had this amazing development, because at first he was completely the cowardly heel. He didn't sell out, he bought in, he's with the authority, he'll do what the authority wants. Then it got to this weird middle ground where he's in the authority, but they're sort of proving him. And then he got to a point where he was serious, he was the guy. And now it seems almost like they took a little bit of a step back, at least for me, where he's not a cowardly heel, but he has some kind of identity crisis. Everything from the finisher, which is getting better, the pedigree, but there's just nothing that's shouting to me like, that is your champion. That is the champion of the company. You know, just think about that.
It reminds me a lot of when CM Punk was champion in like 2012, 2013, when he wasn't getting to main event most of the pay-per-views for a while, but almost in a different way. Like Cena,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, basically like Rollins, the issue is like, sure, you know, he's the chicken poop heel, right? And so he's gonna like find his way out of matches. He's gonna cheat to win sometimes and look cowardly. But I think he's something like 1-16, or well, now he's like 2-16 after he finally just got like a squash-ish type of match. But he's like 2-16 in the last month because the house shows are main eventing with Cena versus Rollins for the US title, and Cena's just beating him every single time. And it's like, what does that say about your champion? It's like Cena's still the guy. You know, the US title's the new world title.
But in 2015,
he's like second fiddle to Cena still, even as the world champion, basically.
The question is, in 2015, does the chicken shiat heel main champion still work? Because keep in mind that I'll always bring up the closest example for me with Rollins is Edge. Edge was somebody that tried to get a cheap win, but he had a presence. His character demanded attention. But now if you look at the last couple of Raws, it's more of like, oh, what are they going to do to Seth Rollins now? Oh, well, they got Kane in there.
Part of that is positioning. They don't position Rollins like he's the most important champion on the show.
Exactly.
Plus, and I mean, I don't have the facts right in front of me or the numbers, but I think in comparison to the reign, like with Edge that you're talking about, I think Rollins is significantly longer his title reign at this point. Like Edge would trade it off with people. So I wonder if we're getting to the point where Seth Rollins' title reign is becoming too long.
He's the longest running Money in the Bank winner as far as like an on cash-in title reign. I think he's the longest running champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's a good observation. Just sort of, has he been champion too long? I personally don't think so. If anything, I would love Rollins to continue being champion until next year's WrestleMania. But I'm just not getting the investment. And I guess we'll talk later. Like when John Cena announced that at Hell in a Cell, there's another U.S. Open Challenge match, I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. But then you look at Seth Rollins versus Kane. And there's a huge disconnect there because, once again, where are we supposed to... But before getting predictions aside, I should say, which match do you actually care about the most between the two?
I'm going to go ahead and say the Open Challenge because we all know what's going to happen in that world title match.
Yeah, and I mean, we've already seen that world title match on Raw last week.
But here's the thing. At the same time... No, but at the same time, we've been saying the exact same thing about the U.S. Open Challenge matches. We know what they're going to be, but we're entertained by them. So we have a scenario where we sort of have two of the things that are sort of predictable, yet the one with somebody that we don't even know who John Cena is going to face, although we can already figure out how the match is going to play out, we still care about that match the most, even though all three of us are in the Rollins train, right?
Yes, but I think the difference between, but I think the difference between the John Cena Open Challenge and this is that you don't know who's going to be in it until it happens, right? And one of the most exciting things that can happen in wrestling is the concept of a mystery partner or mystery opponent. And that's what the Open Challenge really brings. Like, yes, we know John Cena wins, lol. But it's that little like moment of, okay, cool, now he's going to fight Cesaro this week and they're going to have a pretty good match. Or this week it's Kevin Owens. Oh, wow, Sami Zayn out of nowhere. And just that, like, that's the fun part of the Open Challenge.
Yeah, plus a pay-per-view scenario, it seems more likely a title could change. So there's a couple of reasons to be more excited.
Indeed. So while we're on the topic of Rollins, it's almost like we keep saying, have you guys noticed a trend here? The past couple of weeks, we've been saying something on the podcast that we hope doesn't happen soon. And the week later, here we are talking about how that just happened. I believe it was last episode or 2 episodes ago that were like, the Shield reunion, they should hold off on it at any magnitude, even if it was like the smallest thing, even if it was a tease. And then, hey, here we are a week later talking about a somewhat maybe Shield reunion that didn't end up being a thing per se. But the fact is that we got that magic moment where, oh my God, it may happen. It didn't happen. And I honestly wish they would have waited out on that, especially if it was just a go-home show to Hell in a Cell, Rollins walking out. They could have done so much more with that. Are you guys excited that they did that?
I think that was just a colossal mistake. I mean, I'm not sure, because, it wasn't like a real Shield reunion, but still, it does kind of put you off of the actual reunion because we saw something similar, Yeah, it's just disappointing because this is one of those things where, all right, if you're going to do Raw and you're going to try to do all these ratings gets, this is the one you don't want to blow. You don't want to waste this one. Bring in the part-timers, bring in the old-timers, get the walking sticks out and all that, but don't waste something that could be big money in the future.
It's true, because every time you hint at it or tease at it, it makes it a little less exciting because that's the new, refresher point. So now, if they were to do a Shield reunion a year from now, it wouldn't be, since the Shield broke up. Now it would be, from that teased reunion. So it makes it less exciting. Now, in the context of ratings, it was going up against Star Wars. If there's something that's going to go up against Star Wars, something big like that probably seemed like a good idea.
Now, not being a negative Nancy for a little bit, there is this piece of rumor/speculation, so take this with a very minimal grain of salt. There's a report going on multiple websites stating that Dean Ambrose could possibly be in for a larger role on Raw or just WWE as a whole. And considering that he opened up a previous Raw, he's been involved in this now, it does seem like they really are testing the waters. And I, for one, am perfectly okay with it. Ryan, just before you bring it up, he's been doing the rope on clothesline way less now. It's basically at a 0 at this point.
Yeah.
Are you okay with this? Do you want to see Dean Ambrose being in the same realm of John Cena, Seth Rollins, and then him?
Yeah, no, I love Dean Ambrose. I like everything he does, kid. He's just got to tighten up that moveset,
I got nothing, yeah.
Great observation, Keith. How do you feel about that?
No, I agree completely with Ryan. Dean Ambrose is great. He's amazing. He's incredible. And the more he's on TV, the happier I am. He's one of my favorite people on the roster. I know I've said in the past that he probably won't win a world championship, and I still stick to that. But that doesn't mean I don't enjoy him.
Or he'll win one before Roman Reigns. Who knows?
Yeah. No.
And just to clarify that, because we did get a little bit of a backlash on that. When we say that, it's not like we don't want him to win the world title. It's the same way Mr. Perfect never became world champion, but he was a great intercontinental champion. It's not us as fans not wanting him to become that. To me, I'm perfectly okay with that. I think they need that type of character, somebody that can be a little bit crazy, but can also cater to kids. And, Renee Young would be happy. A lot of female audiences, male audiences, people would be happy.
Wait, Dean Ambrose is supposed to cater to kids?
Hey.
Yeah, what?
Okay, consider this. You have somebody
Kevin
like Bray
Owens
Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt again?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going into that territory. So here's the thing. Somebody like Bray Wyatt can easily frighten a child or something like that. But Dean Ambrose, and I've seen that, when I went to a show, 2 shows where he's been involved in, and the kids just see him as like the crazy cool guy. He's not like a Brian Pillman where you saw Brian Pillman and he was scary, just his facial expressions and all that. Dean Ambrose has become a PG Wolverine, if you will. So
wow,
I got Wolverine into the mix now.
Was Wolverine PG though? Well, in the cartoons at least.
Yeah, hey bub. See, it even kind of sounds like Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose is a PG Wolverine.
You have the strangest analogies.
Wow. I've always had that.
I, for one, don't want a kid's version of Dean Ambrose. I want brutal, brawling, doesn't give an F version of Ambrose that I know is there, but hasn't quite come out yet. And that's probably for his solo heel turn. I'm sure he's saving all that up for that.
Huh. You know, the more I think about it, you're onto something, Juan. He kind of is like a Wolverine.
Thank you. A miracle happened. Okay, so my
Does that
analogies
make you
work.
like him more or less?
Honestly, indifferent. I like it a little more for reasons, and then I like it a little less for different reasons, if that makes sense.
Erick Rowan, people. He's back. Talk about it.
That was the greatest return ever.
It was. So it was so shocking that the announcers weren't even sure if it was happening or not.
I almost felt like I was playing No Mercy when you switch an outfit and then you go from Funaki to Takamichinoku. It's like, what happened to Luke Harper? Like, did you just exchange him?
That is so true, though, because if they made a modern day version of No Mercy, Luke Harper and Erick Rowan would be in the same like character slot.
See, I had this weird moment on Raw where I got up, I was cooking dinner, and I come back and all of a sudden I see two sheep masks. I'm like, did Harper put the sheep on? And like, no, that's Erick Rowan. What? That was very strange.
Did you guys see that photo that Jericho posted where everybody's wearing the Luke Harper t-shirt?
the Luke Harper, yeah.
That actually could be responsible for some controversy.
Yeah, Jericho took that down immediately. And I'm just thinking to myself, did he put that up knowing he was going to take it down quickly? What did he expect? Because you have the Matadors who turned on each other. I'm just going to point out, the Matadors turned on each other like a month ago.
Really? I didn't even know that happened.
I know.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, wait, no, I did with the whole
they beat
El
up
Torito
the bull.
thing.
They beat up Torito.
And they've done things with that, right?
Yeah, totally.
Like they went places. My goodness. They took that photo down. It has everybody from Bray Wyatt to Cesaro just all hanging out. Roman Reigns, yeah.
So I can see, and not only that, but that I'm pretty sure that shirt is unofficial, right? It's not WWE
I
merch.
want one, though.
Yeah, I really want
I know, it is a pretty great shirt, but so maybe people are speculating that Harper was like left off TV as like a punishment or something.
But why would Harper get punished?
I don't know. Nobody,
for that?
or they're doing it for storyline purposes because apparently Randy Orton like has a separated shoulder or something like that.
Yeah,
and
there's
they
a
were
follow-up
both just
report.
mysteriously missing from Raw, and then they pulled the match from the pre-show.
Yeah, there's a possibility that Luke Harper was due to personal reasons, but as everything, these are articles that anybody can really make up, so take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, Randy Orton is apparently going to be out for a couple of months. That's out of left field. So he got injured, I think it was at the Mexico tour. Injured out of nowhere. Do you think this is almost a blessing in disguise for Randy? We've talked about that when somebody gets injured, that sucks, but it gives them a little bit of a time to rejuvenate their character,
Orton
avoid
feigned injury to
oversaturation.
not be on the pre-show.
Or that.
No. I was thinking about it today, and I find that Orton's usually at his best when he comes back from an injury. So I guess, yes, in a weird way, it is a bit of a blessing in disguise.
Keith, are you saying that Randy Orton's Vegeta?
Somewhat. Maybe, yes. Hey, I gave you the Wolverine. Don't push your luck there, bub.
Hey, man, I got to go for 2 for 2. Okay, sorry.
But I guess so, kind of, yeah, because Randy Orton, I don't know, we've talked about it before. Randy Orton is just a career of peaks and valleys, right? When he's good, he's great, but man, does he get stale fast. So when Orton's gone for a little bit, he comes back, he has that little bit of mystique, and it's always awesome, but then he just gets stale fast.
Yeah, that's a good observation. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with Mr. Orton. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, for everything else, we'll be getting to our Hell in a Cell predictions very soon. But first, we got some business we got to get out of the way. You guys want to know, we had over 3,000 entries, 3,000 plus entries into our WWE 2K16 $60 digital gift card certificate giveaway over at our website. So thank you to everybody that submitted those entries. Great questions. Fight Night. Keith, you were super kicked in the face over 1 million times. I'm just going to throw that out there.
As it should be.
Yeah, that's very true. So, you guys know the routine for a giveaway. I do need some brop-a-doos in the background because otherwise I won't feel the power to announce the winner. So, you guys ready?
Yep.
Ready, Freddy?
Let's do it. The winner, the one lucky winner for the $60 digital gift card certificate is Mr. Dessen C, aka Young_SB on Twitter. You are entry number 3,260 in the giveaway. You have won the digital gift card certificate. So if you pre-ordered the game, it's like you're getting reimbursed. You haven't pre-ordered it, you get it for free, or you can get some of that DLC. It's all about the money. So we will be contacting you via Twitter and email, so you can let us know if you prefer GameStop or Amazon. It's gonna happen. Thanks for everybody that entered. Keith, give him a speech. Just give him a quick 10-second promo. Go.
Well, sir, I hope you enjoy your copy of WWE 2K16 on us. If you get it for the PS4, we will see you online. Be there, be square. If you don't get it for the PS4, let us know how the other versions are. And yeah,
that's his thing. So thanks to everybody that submitted their entries. We'll look forward to future giveaways very soon here on Byte That. Other cool stuff happening is, of course, Fight Night. Things are getting really serious. Keith made an appearance last episode. Fatal 4-way action with Stevie Richards from Ryan's Here Comes the Pain story mode, which we also recorded over at twitch.tv/Byte That. We have some very cool announcements happening about that, so let's get right to that.
That's right, Juan. We talked about it last week. It's October. It's Shocktober. It's Rocktober. There's only a few more licks left in Rocktober, and don't you forget that. But most importantly, it is Friday night. Daddy! Where we play some of our favorite horror games for your enjoyment. So we gotta kick Fright Night off. Not a lot of October left. So I am going to be doing that this Thursday. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna play some Resident Evil. Is it gonna be Resident Evil 1? I don't know. Resident Evil 2? I don't know. Resident Evil 3? Could be. There's only one way to find out, and that is to head over to twitch.tv/Byte That on Thursday. I'll let you know when, because I don't know yet.
Sir, yes, sir. So I know Mr. McNulty will be playing very soon too. I'm going to be playing a couple of different things, primarily 2K16. The game comes out next week.
The scariest video game of all.
I could play Backstage Assault, because that game is frightening for N64.
We'll have to see if you can make a skeleton in 2K16 and play as the Skellington.
That is a possibility, but yeah, go to our channel next week. You're going to be seeing a ton of content. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Byte That Cast, because I will be announcing when I'll be streaming 2K16. A lot of that stuff will be going up on the channel, so you can check that out. I posted some unboxing videos for WWE Stackdown this weekend on the channel. And this Thursday, guys, we talked about it, and we have done it. Yeah, no, a little something else. We have a brand new squared roundtable happening regarding sort of an aftermath of our top 10 favorite video games. Why isn't Fire Pro in there? Why isn't WCW and NWO Revenge on that? We talked about it.
Why did we put Def Jam?
Yeah.
Because it's a great game, that's why.
WWE 2K18 on there.
Why are we asking everything in like this? You find out Thursday, people.
Because it's kind of fun.
But, okay, let's get real. So, two huge things happen here, Keith, that we're going to talk about. Number one, Erick Rowan's back. I know you're ecstatic about that. This other thing I thought was a joke.
Finally, the ratings are saved, right?
They went up by 2%. By 2%. So, Erick Rowan, people, that red beard equals ratings.
Stone Cold.
Upside down, Sheamus is back, Muggle.
Yeah, Erick Rowan moved the needle this week, folks.
I could make a joke there, but I won't. Getting to another thing, Ryan, is it true?
Yes.
I have heard the rumors, started by yourself, that you watch NXT again.
I watched NXT this week, guys.
What?
Yeah.
Keith, take this over. I got nothing right now. This is too much for me.
I'll do my best to push forward on this one, as I am currently in a state of shock myself. But so what'd you think? How'd How does it feel to be back on the hype train?
Pretty good, you know. It was. I enjoyed the battle royal at the end. You know, it was a big surprise to see Apollo Crews win it. Everyone thought it was going to be Joe, and everyone wanted Tyler Breeze to win. But it was cool. They set up. Looks like we're going to see maybe Joe and Breeze get into a feud.
Definitely, I'm looking forward to that.
That's a cool
Apollo
feud.
Crews versus I can't. What is Finn Balor?
Finn
oh my
Balor,
god, I'm
the
the
champion.
worst. I am the worst. I can't believe I couldn't think of his name. Crews versus Balor could be very interesting because I don't think anyone was expecting Crews to get involved in like the world title feud this quickly. So it's going to be interesting how they protect him, or maybe he becomes champion. I don't know, but it's definitely interesting.
So you're all caught up. You're gonna keep trekking forward.
I got to try and keep going.
Don't try, man. Try is another word for failure. Are you a failure, Ryan?
No.
Ryan, don't let your dreams be dreams.
Look what happened to Bo Dallas. He believed. He's barely on TV now, Ryan. Do you want that to happen to you? I mean, you're not on TV, but go with me here. No?
Okay.
All right, cool.
We'll go with that.
So I think we should check in another little bit and see how you're doing.
See if I've gone off the rails.
Add a little bit of pressure to it. So you never know when we're gonna strike with the question, but you'll be ready. Yeah. Exactly.
Let's just talk about the Stone Cold podcast now, please.
All right.
Okay, so this has been a long time coming. It's been one of the podcast interviews that people have sort of really wanted to happen. More than not more than Undertaker, but along that line, Brock Lesnar, somebody that we don't really hear too much from, especially just behind the scenes. Stone Cold had some time to sit down with him. It's been a mixed bag of reactions. He was as Brock Lesnar could be on a show, where the censor was a poor guy that had to censor Brock Lesnar. That guy should be paid extra.
I hope he got paid overtime. Yeah.
So, did you guys enjoy it? He was brutally honest. I guess the first direct topic would be, do you appreciate or not how honest he was about wrestling being strictly business for him, to the point where he clocks in, clocks out, and doesn't really engage with people?
I'm fine with it. I mean, he has built himself up to kind of be this brand that he can afford to do that. And you know what? If he was bad at his job, maybe I'd feel differently. But the guy, he shows up, he's one of the best performers on the roster. And you know what? He leaves, but it's like he's doing his job great. So how can you knock the guy for it? He's saying it's just like any other job. You know, if someone's at in an office job, they come in, they do amazing work, and they leave. Can you really bag them for not being social or being in love with the business as much as a lot of the other guys are? So, you know, because he's good, you can't really knock him for it.
Exactly. And if it works for Brock, then that's a great thing for everybody involved, because what's the alternative? Brock does more bookings, he gets burnt out, then we end up in the same situation like he mentioned later in the podcast, where he just didn't care anymore. So if something works, do it. Plain and simple.
Getting to a couple of things he brought up, one of them was the Shooting Star Press. WrestleMania 19 versus Kurt Angle. It was a spot he'd done before. We've seen dark match footage of it. He almost got a concussion. He got a concussion from that shooting star, and that was nothing compared to what could have happened. Did you like the fact that he went a little bit on that he was basically persuaded to perform that, and otherwise he wouldn't do that, and then proceeded to then talk about how he didn't need to do certain things because of, at sort of the stage that he is now in?
Yeah, that was a pretty interesting part, and it was kind of cool to find out that it wasn't him trying to... he wasn't the one who was trying to have the WrestleMania moment. Like, somebody else was trying to get him to do it. And I give him all the credit in the world for actually going through with it. And you can see that it probably wasn't the best thing to do. And they're totally right. He doesn't need to do something like that. You can give him another moment that maybe showcases his strength instead of his, athleticism off the top rope or something like that. It's kind of cool to get a little insight. Like, it wasn't Brock's idea.
Yeah.
What would you say was your favorite thing on the podcast, or maybe something that you didn't really know too much about Lesnar, but now you do?
Honestly, the first part of that interview was my favorite part, like finding out how Brock likes to cook his steak. I love stuff like that. Me and Brock Lesnar, we like our steak done the same way. And we agree that gas is the inferior steak. But that's the kind of stuff I love, like the whole how Stone Cold wanted to get to know Brock Lesnar and the person that we never really get to hear about. I thought that was the most interesting part. Like, we could get juicy details for days where they talk about how Stone Cold walked out, good God almighty, and stuff. But I don't know, seeing the human element was my favorite part of that interview, especially with somebody that never really gets humanized ever.
Yeah, exactly. Just humanizing Brock, like the fact that he's talking about like him and Austin exchanging text messages, like that is kind of like a surreal thing for whatever reason. Like you don't picture that happening with Brock and Austin. But yeah, no, it was cool. And I mean, Lesnar, he's a very quiet guy and he just kind of gives you the straight answer. It was kind of weird. His eyes looked very shifty. Like he looked a little uncomfortable, but granted, like this is not a typical thing you see Brock in.
Yeah.
But it's still, you know, it had its moments, and nobody has gone on the Stone Cold podcast and gotten as many bleeps as Lesnar. So he's got that record going for him.
Not only that, but he just told Stone Cold straight up, no, you're not getting this question out of me. You better move on, pretty much, where they talked about his future. He's like, yeah, I know where this is going. I ain't going to tell you. And then just starts laughing. That was awesome.
One of my favorite things about this wasn't really a topic, but just the person. How many people have like a low self-esteem or just are too afraid to just be honest? But Brock Lesnar, when he says he doesn't give a crap, you can tell that he doesn't give a crap. When you have somebody like Stone Cold, somebody mentioned this on Reddit, Stone Cold looked humbled in this episode, and that's not an easy thing to do. When we talked about Stone Cold with Paige, Stone Cold with Triple H, these different interviews, and you saw Stone Cold have the death stare, which we even sort of joked about. But with Lesnar, nope, that's not a thing that's going to be happening.
With the Lesnar episode, it was almost borderline motivational, at least it was for me, where Lesnar would talk about how even though he's this big, intimidating guy that's on top of the world, he gets humbled every single day. And it's a really good life lesson to learn from, like how you can be on top of the world, but keep your feet on the ground at the exact same time. And I thought that was really cool that they talked about stuff like that.
I mean, Lesnar is a farmer day in and day out, regardless of, before, during, or after his wrestling career. I'm not a huge fan of hunting, but the fact that he's still the same person he was before he got into wrestling, somebody that didn't have a lot of money and all these things. So if anybody's curious about getting to know the life of Brock Lesnar, there's been a DVD. He has his book, but I think this podcast interview does a great job of just giving you an overview about what he thinks about the business, what he thinks about just himself, his lifestyle. I would even say he has a little bit of an undiagnosed, if not diagnosed, social phobia because of the way, you said, Ryan, like the jittery eyes. Whenever he spoke about other people, you would see him get a little bit more anxious. But then right at the end, they go into kayfabe mode. It's like, Hell in a Cell happening on Sunday. And then
sell the pay-per-view at the end,
you can tell he wanted to like talk as himself, but it's like, this is PG. He like took like multiple pauses and then said carnage, these nicer words.
There was a lot of times throughout the interview he was kind of like struggling with words a bit. So I mean, talking is not his strong point, but he definitely, when he does talk, it's usually something very interesting. So overall, I thought it was great. I mean, Stone Cold always brings out the best, and I think maybe not Paige, that was a little weird, but he usually brings out the best in his guests.
Agreed.
Yes, sir. So without further ado, let us get to our Hell in a Cell predictions, people, happening this Sunday. Kicking things off first with the pre-show match. We have 6-man tag team action, which we had a lot of tag team matches on Raw. It is Dolph Ziggler, Cesaro, Neville, the Internet Darling Connection versus Rusev, Sheamus, and King Barrett. Let's do Ryan, Keith, and myself.
You know, I'm gonna go with Rusev, Barrett, and Sheamus, which maybe people think that it's weird because like Rusev's in the doghouse and Barrett's always been losing, but I feel like they might go somewhere with this team, you know, because WWE likes to pair up foreign people and stuff like that, so they might become a thing.
I agree with you, but for very different reasons, because they've been doing this whole Barrett keeps getting over on Neville, like keeps pulling a fast one on Neville. So I think this is going to be another notch in that belt that will lead to a one-on-one match down the line.
Barrett and Neville have kind of been like feuding on and off for like 7 months.
Basically since Neville got to
pretty much,
since
Neville debuted.
With me, I got to go with Ryan's prediction, not just about the match, but about the stable. And I think that stable works. You have 3 guys that aren't really doing all that much. Sheamus has a lot of negativity.
And one of them is a Money in the Bank holder.
Yeah, but he has sort of that Xbox factor, no pun intended, happening. So I think pairing them up together is going to help. So I do think they are going to get the win. Next up, we have open challenge for the United States Championship. John Cena versus to be determined.
I'm going to go bold prediction city. It's going to be Tyler Breeze, and he's going to win.
I would love that so much.
Be so good. I don't know who it's going to be. I really honestly have no idea. So I'm just going to say whoever X is and cop out, they win. Probably an NXT guy. Probably an NXT guy.
Phony. I agree. I think it's going to be Tyler Breeze. There's been all these rumors. It's going to be weird, though. If he does come in U.S. champion day one, I don't see how that works unless his character got a little bit of a change.
Hey, it worked for Carlito and Santino, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they went places. Carlito, you over here? No? Okay. So I am going to go with Tyler Breeze, and he becomes champion. And if it's not Tyler, whoever.
Remember when Carlito's bodyguard, Jesus, stabbed John Cena in a nightclub over the United States Championship?
But that guy got his wrestling license later, so he could wrestle.
That was back when people were willing to stab each other for the United States title.
That's how much they wanted it. Think about that. And that scar healed perfectly.
You know, it's starting to get back to that stab-worthy credibility.
Cena, drop that title, man. Drop that title. Up next, Intercontinental Championship match. The champion Kevin Owens versus Ryback.
I think they're going to keep the title on Owens. I think he's going to have a nice, healthy run with it. And that's pretty much all she wrote.
Yeah, hard to disagree with that. I like what they're doing with Kevin Owens. I like the whole dirty tactics. Even though you're cheating to win, you're making it seem like you're the best in the world when you do it. I love that, and I hope they keep doing that for a while with Owens. And he's going to beat Ryback.
Yeah, I agree. Kevin Owens is going to win. I want to get your quick comments. Kevin Owens, pop-up powerbombing Mark Henry.
Goddamn!
It definitely makes me confident that he'll be able to do it to anyone. If you can do it to Mark Henry, who's left? The Big Show?
Yep.
Pretty much.
Rick Khalid's not there. He's in TNA, so... Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Big acquisition happened this weekend, folks.
And that was our TNA reference. Up next, tag team match for the WWE Tag Team Championships. The Dudley Boys take on The New Day. Who wins, people?
This is probably when the Dudleys win it. And I think that's okay. As much as I'd like to see the New Day retain.
I think they're going to keep going. Maybe have the big win at Survivor Series or something like that. I think the New Day is going to sneak another one past them.
I do think that is going to be a clean finish. I almost feel like there's going to be a mistake between the Dudley Boys that allows the New Day to win so they can sort of brag about that, because their whole character is about bragging rights. So if they get something like that, we can maybe get a Survivor Series elimination match, maybe get Spike Dudley in the mix. You get some other people involved, have some cool stuff. I think that's a possibility.
Maybe bring back the pay-per-view bragging rights.
Oh.
No, just kidding.
Yeah, that was short-lived. Yeah. Okay, so now Divas Championship match. The champion, Charlotte, versus the challenger, Nikki Bella.
I think Charlotte's going to retain because she just won it, and for no other reason than that.
I agree, but I think that means that Nikki Bella is going to win, because that makes sense for Charlotte to keep it. And they're just doing the opposite of makes sense at this point. It'll probably be some form of dirty finish where Paige maybe costs her the championship or something along those lines, but I think Nikki Bella is going to get the Divas title back.
Yeah, I think that's the route they're going to take. Paige has been looking at the monitor at a very, very odd angle for the past couple of weeks, so her neck has to be hurting a little bit. So I think that this is when she's going to cost Charlotte the title. And then whatever they're going to do with Paige, aside from the push-up bra, they're going to keep working on that.
It's fantastic.
No kidding.
Ratings, 2%, people. Hey, 2 for 2. Okay, so next up, WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. If Demon Kane loses, Corporate Kane will be fired from being Director of Operations. Seth versus Kane, who wins?
I'm going to say Seth Rollins wins. This could even be a potential retirement storyline for Kane. Who knows, but I definitely think there's no way that Kane becomes champion.
Agreed. And I'm going to say that it's going to be a rare, clean finish for Seth Rollins in this one.
Yeah,
if he has to cheat to be Kane, dude, like, come on.
Like, if the whole scenario build-up for this concludes with getting a clean finish over Kane, I'm perfectly okay with it. Because if anything else, it's like, really? Then why are you doing this?
But I mean, statistically, the odds are against that happening.
So it better not happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, another Hell in a Cell match. Well, getting to one of the two Hell in a Cell matches, I should say. Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt.
I think Bray Wyatt should win this, but I'm going to say Roman Reigns will win this. But I expect this to actually be the better Hell in a Cell. Bold prediction.
I agree. It's almost like Bray Wyatt's in this infinite loop, right? Where he should win, but never will. And I think this will end the feud with a win from Roman Reigns.
Wyatt should win. My answer is Roman Reigns, but Wyatt should win. Give the guy... Can he conclude one feud where he looks good? And then people don't forget about that.
Is he going to bring the lantern back and interfere in his own match?
Wait.
Oh, God, right.
Wait, I think you're onto something, Ryan. Not just PG Wolverine on this podcast. We're going to get that happening.
Man, that was a year ago.
Wow, yeah. Okay, the time flies. Wow.
Huh.
Think about that. Getting to the main event now. This is the match that people are very curious about. The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar inside a Hell in a Cell.
Brock Lesnar will win. I think we don't expect him to sort of lose again to The Undertaker. I think this will be a definitive win for Lesnar, which means Undertaker and Kane are both going to lose at Hell in a Cell, which several years ago you would have thought would have been a weird thing, but that's my choice.
I will be honest, if that match gets to a point where a winner can be crowned, I will consider it a success and be happy about that. Because I don't even think it's going to make it that far. I still think
seriously,
The Undertaker's
we all
just...
gotta, pray for The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Please.
I don't think, I'm going to almost be at, heart attack levels that whole match, just every single bump.
Yeah, no. There's going to be legitimate anxiety where you're just pulling for Undertaker to just get through the match unscathed, you know?
Put it this way, can we agree that we want to see a bad match just as long as The Undertaker comes out of it alive? Because basically, the better the match, the worse shape he's going to end up being in.
Absolutely.
They could cancel the match and I would be totally okay with it.
Yep.
Just have him show up. So who do you think's going to win, Keith?
Brock Lesnar. He can't fake lose again.
I don't know who's going to win. Undertaker's promo on Raw got me thinking because the whole thing is he doesn't really have anything to lose. So even though my pick is Brock Lesnar also, I definitely see a scenario where The Undertaker can win. It's a Hell in a Cell. They can do something outrageous. If Cena beat Lesnar when he came back with an AA through steel steps, like onto it, Taker can do something like that and then get the win. Even though it's not as clean as it should be, he won nonetheless. So, ladies and gentlemen, that has been it for our Hell in a Cell predictions, unless anything was announced on SmackDown, in which case, well, then we didn't talk about it. So, for everything else, let's get to the traditional questions then sent by each and every one of you.
And questions we do have, but before we get to those, want to send us a question? Shoot us an email, bytethatcast@gmail.com. Twitter, bytethatcast. Use the hashtag AskBT though, then we'll see it. And everywhere else, the YouTubes, the Facebooks, we're there. We'll see it. We'll get you.
Words.
Words. So our first set of words this week comes from Jack L. And he asks, "Hey guys, I really like the podcast and all the side stuff you add to the channel." Well, thank you very much. My question is, what is your favorite WWE theme song of all time? It can be a wrestler, pay-per-view theme, TV show, etc.
This is tough for me. I've been a theme collector since 2001, so I can easily name like 20 themes. If I had to pick an immediate theme as a fun theme, it would probably be Badass Billy Gunn, the Mr. Ash theme song, because it's hilarious to listen to. The second one would have to be Undertaker. You have your cool themes like Legacy, Evolution, Motorhead being involved is great, but the Undertaker's theme, we've had the privilege of seeing that and hearing it at WrestleMania, at a house show here in Puerto Rico, and the goosebumps you get when you first hear the gong, and then just the theme music mixed with the smoke. It's just such an incredible atmosphere.
It's definitely the most effective theme music of all time.
And that should be the criteria. You're supposed to be able to feel something without even seeing the person. And I don't think there's a better answer than The Undertaker.
I think actually there is a better answer, and it's Sonny Siaki's TNA theme. I think it's quite fantastic. I think it's like a 30-second loop. So I recommend everyone check that out.
Oh, no, what's a better one? What about Monty Brown's TNA theme, where it was just the intro to Down with the Sickness?
But as far as actual themes that I really love, I love Kane's theme by like Finger 11.
Slow
That's
Chemical.
Up there. Yeah, Slow Chemical. I love the Evolution theme. I love Triple H's regular theme, the DX theme. I guess a ton of stuff with Triple H, even though Triple H is like not my favorite wrestler, but of course Shawn Michaels theme. So everything related to Triple H.
Do the intro part, Ryan.
My favorite theme.
Intro.
What?
Do the intro part.
Wait, what intro part?
For Shawn Michaels.
Oh. Oh, Shawn.
All right.
I'm good.
Yep. I got what I needed. But yeah, I have to agree with the Triple H thing. I think My Time was an amazing theme. The game
that was another good one.
Is an amazing theme. I was never a big fan of D-Generation X's theme. I really like the Run DMC version
the
they
remix,
used for a moment. That one was pretty cool. As far as favorite of all time, probably for the same reasons you mentioned the Undertaker one, I'm going to say Stone Cold Steve Austin's theme. It's that theme that you can hear and instantly the goosebumps, like, oh, something's about to go down.
Hey, wait, we can't ignore all of our new favorite theme, Sasha Banks. Let's be real.
That's true. Legitimate. That's probably my current
legitimately
favorite theme.
That is my favorite new theme.
Yes, and a quick asterisk is Bo Dallas's NXT theme, because it is the greatest piece of theme music in the last 20 years.
And nobody remembers it, sadly.
Except me.
And just like we love Tyler Breeze's original theme, too.
I don't care if it was a production track. It was so perfect, and to this day, I'm not over it.
Real talk. Do you like Tyler Breeze's theme, his old theme, or do you like that one camera shot that would zoom in with the music that just made it so perfect?
That music just worked so much better with this entrance. Oh, another theme from NXT that I love, CJ Parker's like heel theme. It sounded like something out of Tony Hawk, but it was awesome. And I was actually sad that CJ Parker left because I felt like he was just kind of getting it, even though he was kind of a jobber.
And now he is Juice Robinson.
All right, we're way off topic. Let's keep rolling.
The juice is loose. Thank you for the question, Mr. Jack. Yeah, it's almost like we should do a countdown or something related to themes or something along those lines. But our next question comes from the true Prince of Pro, who asks, which Fight Night superstar or superstars do you think would be best to have in a tell-all, no-holds-barred, stone-cold podcast live on the WWE Network? Personally, I'd like to see Keith on there. That's me. So Austin could ask him the tough questions like, how could you just let Alex Hayes get killed on your show? What? Kick, stunner, boom. Lights out.
You would get Stone Cold Stunner by Stone Cold, man. That is an honor.
What more could I ask for in life, really? But yeah, who do you think would do good on the Stone Cold podcast, guys?
You got to go with Dandy. I mean, he's had a lot of issues lately, and I think he's got a lot of splaining to do with what's been going on with him. So I'm sure there'd be tons of insight. Hashtag Fight Night Kayfabe. Keeping it real.
Yeah, no, I do have to agree with Dandy. The last thing that happened, he just walked out of nowhere, completely unnecessary. Keith, you're giving him another shot. And if this doesn't go well, eventually I'm going to have to just sit down and talk with him or something. I wish, right? If only that could happen.
I mean, let's be real. We can't hire a psychiatrist or anything, so you're really the best shot that we've got. But
close enough.
Yeah. Honestly, me. Why wouldn't I want to be on the Stone Cold podcast? I'd be on the Stone Cold podcast.
You're such a mark for yourself, man.
Of course. Why wouldn't you be a mark for me? You should all be marks for me.
Next question, please.
The best
most controversial question. Whatever happened to that beast
manager? Whatever happened to that beast claw? It is somewhere on a DOR memory card. I probably took a guy, I made him blue, and that's about as far as I got. You know why? Because I do what I want. Because I'm the best damn general manager on this planet.
Next question, please.
So true, Prince of Pro. Thank you for the question. The next one comes from Cam B, who says, "What up?"
Make Ryan do it. Specifically point it out. He specifically pointed it out.
Cam, I love you, but I ain't your damn dancing monkey. I ain't doing it.
Fine. You evaded it again. But Cam says, obviously, the WWE wants Roman Reigns to win the title when he's over, but he's not sure when/if that will happen. How do you think they will have him become champion, and how do you think Roman Reigns will finally get over with the crowd?
I think he's going to win it at WrestleMania 32 because I literally just read a dirt sheet thing that said that was going to happen. How are they going to do it? I think they aren't going to be pushing him as in your face as like, this is the guy we're pushing this year. I think they're going to be a little more subtle about it. They've spent a long time just kind of building him up and not shoving him in your face. So I'm hoping by the time WrestleMania season rolls around, the crowd's going to be a little bit more open to Roman Reigns. And I think he will be somewhat over, but probably not as over as they'd like him to be.
I agree. I think that next year's WrestleMania, because they want to make it so big, they will have a specialty match that many people will complain that will feature part-timers, but will sadly, for better or worse, overshadow the title match so they can afford, even if the people aren't supporting Roman Reigns, to have him win. Because I do think that if he's not champion by next year's WrestleMania, I think there's a big issue. Last week's promo was not too great, but I think he's making great progress. WrestleMania, I keep saying it, triple threat shield match, and he comes out the winner.
I think history is going to repeat itself this/next year. And I think it's going to start at the Slammies. I think Roman's going to win Superstar of the Year award again. Then I think he's going to win the Royal Rumble. That's going to lead to WrestleMania, where I think he finally gets the big W.
That's going to be controversial.
Yeah, people are going to hate that so much. It's just like, all right, boys, we're doing the same plan again. Let's just hope it works.
What if they just replay last year's Rumble now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan's back for some weird reason. It's a strange time, but I don't know. I've said it for a while and I still stick to it. I think they're just going to try that whole thing again. Is that going to get him over with the fans? Probably not, but they can play the whole, you got what you want last year. You got what you want the year before that too. It's time for us to get what we want, and the heck with you, loud fan people. But thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from NKBE1324. And he asks, what are you going to do first when WWE 2K16 comes out next week?
The first thing I'm going to do is go to the creative mode and see if they have a chicken hat. And if they don't, I'm going to cry for 20 minutes while playing my career mode with my crappily made created character.
For me, probably, well, first of all, set up the Twitch channel, probably, and get the Elgato going. Then after that, just random exhibition matches to get the feel. I didn't play 2K15 too much because I wasn't a fan of the gameplay. I think it looks good, but the gameplay, just the mechanics didn't feel right. And I think 2K16, based on what I've seen, it's going to be something that I may really like. So just that, and then probably Showcase, and finally my career.
What I will do is one of the same things I do every year is I will make a multi-man match, probably like a 6-man elimination match. I will go through the roster, and I will be like, his entrance is probably cool. And then I'll do that 5 more times. I'll play the match. And do that until I see all the entrances I want to see. And then, because you'll probably be streaming at twitch.tv/byte that, I'll join you. Maybe we'll play some online or something like that.
Oh, really?
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds sexy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. So thank you for the question, sir. Our next one comes in from Cody Collier. And he asks the age-old question of, do you think Sheamus is going to cash in his money at the bank at Hell in a Cell this Sunday?
Keith, is that the spot?
No.
Damn.
The spot will live on in our memories. We will cherish it, we will enjoy it, but we will never see it.
No, is my answer.
Yeah, I don't think Sheamus is going to cash in his money at the bank. As far as his money in the bank,
did I say money at the bank?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to cash it in either. He's just he doesn't seem like he's really built up and ready to be champion, and he doesn't even seem like he's built up enough to even lose to Seth Rollins right now.
He's teaming up with King Barrett, for context.
Yeah, I don't see where the Sheamus cash in just fits right now. So maybe they'll just save it for later.
Yeah, it's not going to be now. At this point, it almost feels like it's not even going to be this year.
Which it just expires, he forgets about it. And it's like, hey, year's up, man. Sorry.
I'd like to see a storyline where someone's kind of up against the clock. You know, maybe they only have a couple days. So.
Yeah, maybe
it could be interesting.
Maybe they cash it in at next year's Money in the Bank. That would actually be pretty cool.
What if he somehow cashes in an opportunity to win the other Money in the Bank ladder match? So he cashes in to win
and
a
then
cash
he holds
in.
it for another
so
year.
It's almost like an extension.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That would actually be pretty cool. Meaningless, but cool. But thank you for the question, sir. Our next one comes from Barnaballs, Mr. Barney Johnson, who asks, what do you think is the youngest, oldest, and average age of the demographic that listens to your podcast? Bit of a weird question, but, you know, we have facts. We can hashtag fact this.
Yes. Statistical answers here, actually. Our average age demographic is 18 to 24. And then 19 to 35, I want to say, is next. And then we actually keep going up. So a lot of times people think that younger fans are the ones that consume some of this online content. Oddly enough, for us, it is mostly older crowd. That being said, when it comes to male female, it is a sausage fest up in here.
Yeah, we get what is it, 10%?
Yeah, and it's like
audience?
8 to 10%. So for those females that are listening out there, you were special. You were special. Thank you to everybody. But yeah, It's cool. And for curiosity's sake, where do people mostly listen to us from? In order, United States, United Kingdom, Canada, and then it jumps into India, and then it jumps into Saudi Arabia. We actually have multiple listeners over there. So it is, as I always say,
listen to us, we'd like to talk to you.
Yeah. And it is ridiculous that people all over the world listen to the show. Just at multiple different times. Some people don't even get Raw. So obviously they get recaps that are maybe really outdated or something. So thank you to everybody. It's amazing.
Yeah, amazing doesn't even really begin to describe it. And like Juan said, thank you everybody for listening. So our final question of the show comes from Gaming is Art 88. That's his YouTube handle. And he asks, do you think the WWE will be around in 100 years?
It's a very good question because, I mean, wrestling in its current form, I guess, is, it's still relatively new in terms of just like the, world history. But I do think it will be. I think WWE will still be around in 100 years. That it is just, it's a form of entertainment that can draw people in and has a very dedicated fan base. Will it be as popular? I mean, who knows? It could have another boom period. But I do think it'll be around.
Yes, but not in its current form. I think with the Evolve announcement that happened with Sami Zayn showing up, which he did this weekend, all this discussion, I think that the network, I would say, is the bigger question. Will the network be around in 100 years? Technology has changed almost completely in 20 years.
We'll get that in our eyeballs.
Yeah.
So
like it's going to be, Keith, pull out your thumbnail. I want to watch some wrestling. So that's going to be happening. So WWE will own every single territory / company that provides wrestling entertainment, and it'll be up on the network, plus just everything. But it's going to be fascinating.
Jetpacks too.
Yes, I think wrestling will be around, but I don't think it'll be human beings doing it. It'll be like some weird cyborg battle bot.
What was like the show? Was it BattleBots? The show
like a robot clone from the future, something like that.
Like they go back
just
to
like
the past.
Straight up. It's 100 years from now. There's gonna be like
like there'll be a cyborg Cena. And an evil Rex.
Yeah,
and,
exactly. Ryan, we should totally go through.
We already have an episode of Fight Night about this. You can see what WWE is like in 100 years. Just watch episode 17 or 18.
Yeah, episode 17. We saw what WWE is like in the future, and their budget is way low. There's just cars all around the entrance just to, decorate the scene.
They ran out of oil.
Retro style.
Red Ray discs. That's a thing, people. So while Keith is looking at it, it's like, what are you even talking about? We do want to thank everybody for listening. Everybody that signed up to the giveaway. This is not over yet. We always have something special happening. We've had everything from poetry to now giveaways, WWE 2K16 coverage happening very soon. And you know what's going to end up happening. This is the hype train. Ryan, you're not doing it. You're just like, all right. Yell. Just randomly yell. Just yell.
I don't know. I don't know what that was.
I don't know what that was, but go with it. You already started. Go.
All right. Well, we want to thank everyone for watching another special, exciting, sexy,
watching
frightening
with their ears
edition of the Byte That podcast. Of course, we got to plug the YouTube channel. Everybody loves the YouTube channel. YouTube.com/Byte That Cast. This Thursday, we take a second look at our top 10 wrestling video games in our newest SRT, where we basically try and say why all these games that everyone yelled at us about for not including weren't in, or would they be in now. So that is a nice little discussion. Of course, Juan had his unboxing video of WWE Stacked Down. Watch him be so afraid of trying to build that Lego set. And of course, the newest episode of Fight Night is on there as well. This weekend, I will put up a video on what? I don't even know yet, but you will find out soon. Of course, you can check out our other social media by going to Instagram, Byte That, Facebook /Byte That, and of course Twitter @Byte That Cast. And if you want to send us an email, you can send that to bytethatcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And for anything else, you can go to bytethat.com. So thank you guys for listening. And we will see you next week.
Closing the podcast.
Oh, don't forget about Keith streaming this Thursday.
Yes.
Resident Evil for Fright That.
Zombies.
So now I'll see you next week.
This is where the podcast ends, and then you pull out your phone, and then you check the hour, and then you contemplate how long you've been listening to us. And now you stop. And delete.
No, don't
We're still
delete
here.
us.
Bye. Goodbye.